Welcome back to DreamHack Valencia, everybody, and welcome to our next game of the second day of action, Andy. We're going to have an opportunity here to see one of our open bracket teams in Lucendi going up against one of the tournament favorites, the all-French squad of Quadrant.
Yeah, we get to see Quadrant on the main stage. And I think you and I were just talking, this is a good opportunity for Quadrant, right, to get back into everything, to get back into the main stage. And we'll take a look here at the series layout of this series. And if you caught the desk segment, you know that this could be a pretty fast one, but here's the game types that we'll see.
I agree with everything you said there. I think it will be a fast series. It should be a fast series here for Quadrant, and the perfect series just to kind of find their feet again on the main stage, get warmed up, get loose, and make sure those good habits that they've been drilling into themselves over recent weeks are there when they get to those bigger games a little bit later on. And looking at that series layout, you're going to pick a game type for Quadrant to get going on. Stronghold's live fight is probably going to be it.
Yeah, Strongholds is really great, right? It's a game type that is so just at your throat, and you can really just rip your opponents apart. Very different from something like a CTF, where you're getting 1 point on the board at a time. Stronghold is going to give them an opportunity to just really start steamrolling. That's what they're going to be looking to do. And Quadrant's a team that we expect to bring 100% here.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you know, 100%, but they are a team who are always at 100%. So yeah. I think it's a pretty good, kind of reasonable thing to say 100 times, if you like. But on the other side of the stage, Lucendi coming through the open bracket, all Swedish lineup, and there is some experience on this team. We've seen a few of these names before in previous tournaments. The likes of Beatley has been there for sure. Catchy, we always see him not only at tournaments, but certainly in the Twitch chat. Yeah. He's always popping up. And then you got Hercules and Arbiter as well. So there's some talent on this team. It isn't going to be a complete rollover. They're still going to have to win those battles, Quadrant here, but you would expect them to come out with a hot 3-0 here and really put a marker down for the rest of the tournament.
Absolutely. All 8 players on your screen here. Quadrant, of course, on the left in their trademark. Is that bright green?
I think fluoro yellow.
Fluoro yellow, got that. Lucendi on the right, as we said, the open bracket team coming up, looking to see what they can do in this series. A tall task ahead of them, but maybe an opportunity for Quadrant to not only get momentum into the day, into Saturday, but also maybe add to the now notorious Quadrant highlight reel. The montage just continues to get built. Nurix adding some great plays to that yesterday as well.
It certainly did, and it always seems like the background to those clips is live fire, so maybe it's going to be the perfect opportunity, like you say, for a few more multi-kills to be racked up here by the French contingent. But we'll start off with Shirty's favorite player in the world, I think, at the moment. It's going to be Chick, of course. I'm not sure that the wig quite matched the haircut of Chick, to be honest. It kind of more matched what I used to look like in university.
I've seen the photos. It absolutely looked like you about 12 years ago or so, and I don't know what Shirzy was going for. I think Chick's a great-looking guy. Shirzy looked ridiculous on the desk, and I don't want any comparisons to be made, because not only does Chick have incredible gameplay, but the guy's incredibly handsome as well, and he's starting off with a hot 4 dead, and they're looking for the trip cap early on.
Yeah, no smiles from Chick as well. That's one thing I like about this Quadrant lineup, whether it's scrims, whether it's matchmaking, whatever they're playing, it's always 100%, like I mentioned previously, and they'll want to get this done as quickly and as swiftly and as efficiently as possible as well. And you can already see from the start of this game, it's 35-0. They're going to be able to reset B here, and already you can see the ligaments in the thumbs of SLG are certainly looking warm.
My God, look at the confidence from SLG. Just knows he's going to hit that body shot, and he knows he's going to be able to finish it with the BR. Great movement to nest as well. And just look at the scoreboard. I mean, you got Hercules with 4 kills and really an intro. Oh, boy, you cannot poke your head above the sandbags. It just becomes a target for a player like SLG. 58-0 here, and 3 out of the 4 players on Lucendi are yet to get a kill.
Almost that kind of had that image of, you know, when you go to the beach and you bury someone, it's just their head poking out. That's exactly what that looked like there.
Temporarily.
Okay.
Yeah, temporarily. Just to make sure.
Yeah, that's what it looked like for SLG there. Just their head popping up. That's all he needed. And he took the head right off of that player, just peeking on those sandbags. A little bit of contesting going down a B here, and it looks like Quadrant might not quite have the numbers, but they are now arriving. As you see, Nurix not pick up 1, but 2. Chick comes in with that help to get the easy reset onto B. And that's one thing that Quadrant do really well here on Stronghold. They're always contesting, elongating that B Stronghold, and making sure that that fight is never easy for their opponents.
19-7 are the slays on the board, and as you'd expect with a kill count like that, it's also 89-0. Trip cap might get shot down in A momentarily, but Quadrant is clinical here. This is what we expect them to bring regardless of opponent. they will play perfect Halo to the best of their ability, and right now they're doing just that.
Yeah, really impressive stuff there from SLG as well. Even though he went down, just took a moment just to set up that little drop slide to make sure that he was a difficult target to hit while he was doing the damage to those players into A. I think his plan was to try and slide off the edge there towards the scoreboard area and just elongate his life when the help came in after the damage. Didn't quite execute it, but again, just those little micro moments that really make a player like SLG stand out from the rest.
Certainly, we've seen such great moments here, as you say, not only as a squad, but from these individual POVs on Quadrant all day Friday. Here on Saturday, we talked about it yesterday, but really an opportunity for Quadrant. When we think about the Halo Championship Series as a whole, when we think about Europe, Quadrant have to know ahead of them is a fantastic opportunity. This year, the history books have been written by Ascend in Europe so far, not just this year, the past 2 years just about have been written by Ascend. If Quadrant is able to take this event, also put up big performances on the board for the rest of the global lands, they will be the team to beat and the team that we talk about in Europe.
Well, at the moment, there's only one beating going down, and it's on the side of Lucendi. They are getting pummeled in this first game. It's 205-0. There's not much to really talk about so far. Beatley, maybe the one kill is going to be a good thing for him. Arbiter has managed to get off that goose egg as well, but it's just been pure dominance at the moment. There's no real other way to kind of sugarcoat this. Quadrant have just been having their way with Lucendi.
I mean, 217-0. Let's see if A flips. It does, and it will finally mean a point on the board for Lucendi. When we looked at this game type, I think you and I were kind of thinking the same thing, that it was actually an opportunity for a 250-0. Lucendi will avoid that fate, luckily, but not an easy game type to play a team like Quadrant on. They're now only about 30 points away from closing out the game, and it's also a nice bonus overshield for Nurix.
Yeah, that was a bonus as well, because you really should have got that. There was 3 players from Lucendi in the vicinity to challenge, and even allowing him to get away to pop it was a little bit of a misplay from them, and off the back of it, you can see there's a triple cap once again into the hands of Quadrant. They have both hands around the throat of Lucendi at the moment, and it doesn't look like they're going to let go anytime soon.
Certainly no end in sight. Luckily, the game will be ending shortly for the side of Lucendi, as it will be a clinical run here. Trip cap will resume, but they don't even need it. 5 points to go.
5 points to go. It's going to tick down here. The triple cap will be enough to close out game number 1, and as we would expect, Quadrant come into today looking as strong as we would hope, and certainly dealing the damage needed to take that game home without any troubles whatsoever.
That's right. What I loved, we heard about Quadrant yesterday, talking to them just after their matches, both their interviews on the desk and also talking to them just after their match off stage. You heard them say it, it's all business for them. And they have a really terrifying combination on this side right now this weekend, because they are all business. They're here to do one thing, but they're hungry, right? It's rare that you get both of those. A lot of teams, if we think about something like a Sentinels, right? They've been there before. They're all business. They know what to do. However, they've been there before so many times. Quadrant is both all business this weekend, and they're on the cusp of becoming one of the best teams in Europe, if not the single best team. So this team has a lot of promise this weekend. Final score in there in that game number 1, 250-9.
You talk about that personality and that drive that this team has as well. It's something I haven't seen in Europe for quite some time. So I go back to thinking about power gaming in Halo 3.
Right.
That kind of drive and determination, not only to succeed here in Europe, but go on to potentially try and win an event in North America on the global scale. And I think it's something that's so separates them from the rest of the pack, and it's something that is giving them this success. I kind of harped on about how they give everything 100%, right? They expect the best from each other as well, and they're ruthless in their approach to the game. And like you said, you see the interviews of Chick, even the pre-tournament content that's being shot. It's we're going to win. Yeah, we expect to win. Why would we not? And it's that kind of like cold-hearted almost attitude that they have that is just making them such a threat to everybody at the moment.
And not taking on anyone lightly, right? It's a really great combination of confidence here, as well as hunger and drive. As we take a look at the layout there, as we said, a big blowout win as we expected Quadrant to take in the first game. Slayer recharge, an opportunity for Lucendi to put up a little bit more impressive of a performance and maybe a bit more resistance. But what we love about this Quadrant side is I think that they are here to do one thing, but they're also not taking any opponents lightly. I mean, that was an absolute textbook piece of gameplay that we just saw in that game number 1, and they're taking no prisoners.
They kind of remind me of like the ruthless businessman in an organization. You know
Terrifying.
What I mean? Like they start right at the bottom of the ladder, but they're first in, last out every day. Don't mind stepping on other people to get a little bit of a promotion and moving up the ladder until they run the place. And that's kind of that attitude that they seem to have. And For Lucendi, unfortunately, they're the kind of people who are getting stepped on at the moment and won't be moving up that ladder, so to speak, because Slayer Recharge is another game type where it's going to allow the likes of SLG, Chick to get their hands on a shock rifle, really start to go to work. And I'm excited to see how Quadrant approach this one, because if they have that same attitude that we've seen in that game number 1, then I'll tell you what, it's a little bit early maybe for Stake. It's never too early for Stake. Let me correct myself, but it might be on the menu.
Sorry, let me check the clock here. Actually, it is actually, yeah, it's the afternoon officially here in Valencia, Spain. Speaking of,
West Price actually made Steak and Eggs at 7:30 a.m.
He did, which is also acceptable. Also acceptable here. We're into game number 2, and we'll see how this opening rush looks, and maybe an opportunity for Quadrant to just continue where they left off.
It's 2v2 off the start here. Shad gets the stick to make it a 1v1 on the map, although it looks like Chick has come back off of respawn to re-challenge for that camouflage. Lucendi with no players really in position, I was going to say, by the looks of things, to challenge that. But there is a little bit of backsmack that actually comes in to take him down. So the camo kind of neutralized between the two teams here.
Yeah, certainly a better start here for Lucendi. Keep a look at that. Already a 2-kill lead for them in the Slayer, and it will give Quadrant just a little bit more pressure where they'll need to be a little bit careful off this push. And actually, it's great Whirlpool control, predicting that move from Chick from batteries into Whirlpool. That'll extend their lead once again.
Shad and SLG will just draw that back for a few moments, not letting Lucendi get that momentum on their way, not let the adrenaline start to flow a little bit, and just slowing things down. And like you mentioned, some teams might just start flying at them. They think we've just won that first game 250 to 1 or 2 points or whatever it was. Let's just try and get this game done as quickly as possible. But you're seeing what Quadrant are all about here. Every single game is played as if it is a game 5 in a final.
It really is, and it's great discipline from them, right? This discipline, this breeds excellence. They want to play every single game like it is a tournament-defining series, and that's exactly what they're doing here. They've slowed it down completely. They have showed complete respect to Lucendi, and as you said, not every top team in the world is going to play like that. They might just start to hold forward a bit and know that they'll win the series eventually. However, they're breeding excellence here on the side of Quadrant, down by 2.
Chick, though, will miss that beat down, but somehow or other, I don't know if it was a team name from Catchy or maybe it was the stick that was just thrown on that death kind of animation from Stick to, from Chick, excuse me, to get the stick. But for now, once again, respect being shown this time by Shad. Jumps back up, using that grapple towards the battle edge, and we're seeing a standoff once again between the two teams.
Lucendi doing well to make sure to continue applying the pressure. It's Hercules again leading the board for his side. Ooh, and my God, great work here from C-Plat as well, and showing some very good resistance. And it's not just an okay opening from Lucendi. This is looking much better from them.
It certainly is. Chicky's going to pick up the sword, though, and the shock. So maybe an opportunity, once he gets the fresh bean can on the end of this thing, to rip a few heads off, as Shad is going to make it a much, much tighter game. Just 2 kills now as the haircut comes in for Chick. Onto the player up towards top goal. But once again, we're seeing these situations, and this is really good practice here for Quadrant. Let's think about this. You know, you take ourselves into a game that's a little bit later in the tournament. This is the kind of situation they're going to have to thrive in.
Oh, look at Nurex. He just flies right into pipes, unanswered, unchallenged, finds the gap, and to be honest, that shouldn't happen. And what will happen off of the back of that is a lead change.
Great shots again from Nurex as well. Not only the sword kill, but having the presence of mind to react to that call out that clearly came from a teammate. There was a player pushing pipes, and from that now we see, look at the score just flip on its head, 17-14. The patience has worked here for Quadrant, and it's been the transfer of power weapons which has engaged it.
Cannot do that. You cannot leave the back door unlocked when Nurex has the sword in the backyard. He walks straight into pipes and he breaks the setup entirely without challenge. Now it's a 4-kill lead, double kill for Shad as well.
Still got the sword to work with as well here, Shad, so he'll be able to lock down the long haul. You can see Chick still has that shock rifle in his hands as well, and he didn't need to be asked twice there. Arbiter feels the pain and will suddenly have his hair standing on end after that headshot.
Here comes the push now, and what was a convincing C and control hold earlier for Lucendi. It looks very different now as they will find themselves 3 dead, and just like that, it is a 6-kill game. Quadrant seems to have found the steam that they needed, making a killing spree for Shad.
I think it's just the damage being done and the threat of these power weapons that's changed this game. As soon as they get damage with a shock rifle or pick, whatever it might be, then you can see the collapse starting to come in here from Quadrant. And this is how you need to play things, right? This is how you need to play against the best teams in the world, let alone, with all due respect, a team like Lucendi who have come from that open bracket.
3 dead yet again. It's still Quadrant once again with the sword and the pipes. It's like we're playing a game of Clue here. The murder mystery has been answered, and the sword and the pipes has been the tool of destruction. 30-19 now.
Nurex again picking up an important kill here. He's currently sat at 4 and 7, but I always feel like Nurex, when you're watching his POV, he's doing things that are vital for the success of the team.
Love what I'm seeing from Nurex. I think we saw him step up in a huge way yesterday, not just flashy plays, but being exactly, as you say, where he needed to be. It's a clinical elevator push here. They clear out Whirlpool. That will make their lead now almost insurmountable. What was just a 15-11 or so game is 34-20 in favor of Quadrant.
Yeah, this is been surgical in the way that they've just taken apart Lucendi here. He's going to have a 1v1, but it becomes a little bit of a 1v2 as Arbiter gets invited to the party thanks to the Repulsor entry ticket as he jumps back up to that balcony. But 15 kills to go here. Hercules is going to bring it a little bit closer, but the trade immediately coming in. And you can see the Chick at the moment. He's sat at 11-3. No surprise to see one of the best players in the world and arguably one of the most impressive players this season in Halo Infinite, putting up those kind of statistics.
Certainly with clips that have made him a household name across the globe. Also Shad 14-5 here. Look at the smile on Chick's face. So we've been answered, actually. When they're leading by 15 in a Slayer with a killing frenzy for Chick, that's when the man will let a smile slip out. And he's having a good time on the main stage.
The favorite bit about that is the first time I've seen Chick smile on the main stage, but then he died and it was immediately death face once again. It's like, all right, now we win the game. Now we get serious again. And I love that from Chick, showing a little bit of personality here. And obviously the killing frenzy is always going to put a smile on anyone's face up on the main stage. But 7 kills to go here for Quadrant to close things out. And I mentioned that steak dinner. It's 4 kills for Lucendi to avoid that steak dinner, make it 3, but the trade comes in.
Just a few kills to go here, and the all-French side has been absolutely dominant. Perfect kill here from Shad as well on the home stretch. Absolutely dominant over the Swedish side, and just a few kills away here from the Game 2 win.
I mean, Shad's 17-5. 17-5. He is having an absolute field day on Recharge Slayer, and he's going to get a camouflage as well, but we don't even get to see music because his teammates are in position to close things out. It will be that steak dinner that we mentioned, the final score of 50-27, and Quadrant are looking lethal at the moment.
Very good, and what I'm so impressed with, we talked about it at the beginning of the game, but not many top teams would slow the game down as much as Quadrant did when they were down 10-7. They stopped the game, to a crawl, to an absolute halt. They slowed it down. They knew the picks they needed. They waited for the gaps. They had the elevator control. They're watching with the shock into gold. And somehow Nurex finds the exact timing push into pipes, and they break it apart. From then on, Lucendi had no chance to come back in the game because Quadrant found the openings they never should have found. But a huge props to Quadrant, the way they played that, showed respect to their opponent, and then to be honest, thereafter didn't show much respect at all.
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of just dismantling their opponents after that, but I think we've learned a lot about how they want to approach games today and what they're kind of looking forward to doing, and that is playing against some of these best teams that we have here at the tournament and putting those reps in for the situations they know they're going to find themselves in at some point. But a huge shout out to Shad there. Nearly 4K damage, just 2 points shy of 4K, a huge amount of kills. Not a lot of deaths and some assists to boot as well.
Absolutely, and the Steaktacular will come in there. The steak dinner killing spree as well for Shad. 2 double kills to his name, and a huge part of that. And we get to take a look at some of those highlights now.
This was the start of the game, and this was where things were a little bit close between the two teams. You can see Lucendi had a very thin start right at the start, but this is the push you were talking about, just the timing. Like you mentioned, sometimes you look away for 2 seconds, and that's all you need for some of these players to create an opening.
I'll make a classic reference there to watching the Portal on Beaver Creek. When you're watching Portal, you cannot look away from the Portal. And if someone gets through the Portal, there's a big problem. And to be honest, Pipes is pretty similar. If you're sitting Pipes watching Whirlpool, there better not be someone coming through Pipes. Also, heaven forbid, with a sword. Let's take a look at the reaction here. Once again, it's all business for Quadrant. There better not be someone coming through Pipes, and heaven forbid, with a sword that we didn't know about. And that's how Nurex slips through. And the fact that they found that opening, honestly, pretty unacceptable. Lucendi's not going to be happy about that, nor will they be happy about the scoreline so far. Quadrant potentially with 1 game away from the clean sweep.
Don't think they're going to be too happy with the fact that we're going to Streets Oddball as well as the next game as well, because this is a map where I have seen some really, really impressive performances coming in from Quadrant, and it's another opportunity for them to get some more reps in, to find that teamwork in on another game type where maybe a few different skill sets are going to be required here, Andy, because we've seen a game type where it's based on getting those strongholds in their control, controlling those spawns, making sure the pressure is on. Then we've seen them slow that game down in the Slayer and then pick up the pace towards the end. And now you get to see them having to work the numbers game a little bit more, making sure that oddball is being moved efficiently and making sure that those strong setups are there and there's no missing pieces.
Absolutely, and we'll have to see just how much they push the forward end, right? Are they going to play a little more positional and obnoxious, just holding down bases and watching sightlines, or are they going to extend into places like Arcade, into places like Neons to get that 4th kill and maybe force a rotate thereafter? We'll have to see how they play this. We are now jumping into game number 3.
Well, the strangest thing about this as well, I think if you're watching this game and you're a team like Ascend and you're a team who's like Na'Vi watching this series, you'll learn a lot from this game on how Quadrant want to approach things, right? Because they're going to be given the space to make plays off of the 3 or 4 dead. So I think this is a huge opportunity to actually research the way that Quadrant are going to approach this game type for some of the other teams.
Absolutely, and I expect them to play just the way they've played these past 2 game types, not leaving an inch for their opponents. You can even tell the way SLG plays Rockets there. He sits tires for just a second. He takes his time tiptoeing around pillars to make sure he's not going to accidentally have to let off a rocket too close to himself. And I love the way he's also playing driveway here so carefully. They're already up 25-0.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than firing a premature rocket.
No.
It's a difficult situation to find yourself in, and there's not many excuses that you can make. But for now, it looks like there will be a little bit of a break of the action for sure, as Lucendi do pick up 3 kills. So Quadrant not being able to hold maybe in the way they wanted to, and Chick will be taken down as that last player, but at least the play ball is there. And look at SLG already applying the pressure to that player, trying to grab that odd ball and bring it back.
I'm not going to lie, they fell into the trap, right? Chick stays alive as long as he can back A, and he gets the damage. SLG pokes B stairs just in case that player happens to go for an A. He shouldn't have gone for an A. And SLG gets a kill he should not have gotten once again off of the Chick damage. You cannot let Quadrant eke out those extra kills because they will tear you apart.
2 players should be able to deal with SLG here, but with the way that Quadrant play, you know that some help is about to arrive. But for now, it looks like they decided SLG was dead to rights. So the rest of Quadrant, off of that play, have now all swarmed towards the pink street. And Lucendi doing a pretty good job of actually holding the line here a little bit here, Andy.
2 dead for the moment there. Shad's also going to get taken down. Kenchi was the last player alive on your screen. They will not be able to play the ball, so this should be more time for Quadrant.
Got to kill Chick, though. Chick was one of the first players in that situation. He survived the longest. He then comes back to bite you with that Bulldog, and the Bulldog, it bites hard. Now he has the oddball. Now you're seeing that rotation. I love these transitional setups. I think we're going to see more and more of this in Halo Infinite. Everyone's like, let's bring it to tower. Let's bring this to trap. Sometimes when you've got numbers and you're not sure where the spawns are coming in, you can hold it on a street and then base where you're moving that ball off of the kills.
Yeah, I think people knew that Pink Street was a pretty good hold previously, but now with so much King of the Hill under their belt on that Pink Street, they're like, wait a minute, we could be so obnoxious and essentially just temporarily hold on Pink Street here. Whichever way they rotate, to be honest, they're screwed, and then we'll get them kills. We'll rotate thereafter if we need to. It'll be more time on the board for Quadrant. They're up 60-1.
Really, really smart stuff there from Quadrant, just to show that there's other ways to approach this game. Look at that ball, it's still down on the pink street. Unfortunately, a few moments ago for Shad, he fired a rocket that was kind of full of feathers and didn't get the kill immediately, but we've all been there. We know how the rockets can be a little bit funky sometimes in those situations, but 62-1 in this first round. And just looking across the board at the moment, once again, it's Chick who's leading the line here. He's 7-2 and just looking dominant.
What a start from him, and the points on the board as well. It's not just a slaying fest for Quadrant. They've been so objective efficient, not wasting any time. Little PD angle here for Chick once again, just going to be obnoxious holding in the back of the base, and even little things like this drop shield, right? He cannot get naded from the PD door on caution. Little things like that, even though their opponent has come from the open bracket, they are making sure once again to exhibit excellence regardless of their opponent on the other side of the stage.
Ball's still on that pink street as well. Really interesting to watch how Quadrant have actually approached this. You see Chick is going to pick up one, Chick will survive, and now this kill's come in for SLG and Co. Just Chick being the bait, and SLG is happy to eat the meal that was left in front of him after the cooking was done. But now the Rockets are going to be the next point of contact for Quadrant. You can just see, once again, it's, okay, we've done this. What is our next stage of play? And while all of this is happening, 94 points are already on the board.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not going to be able to even chime in on what you said because they're only 3 points away from closing out this round. 99-100. Quadrant will take the first round with ease, and what felt like a chess match, like you said, pre-programmed, pre-calculated, premeditated destruction from them, as they knew exactly what they needed to do in each scenario. They put the points on the board, now only 1 round away from the very quick 3-0 sweep.
I mean, what I'm about to say is going to make us sound far more intelligent than we are, but I'm going to carry on with it anyway. We were having a conversation yesterday about AI in chess, and you were telling me about how, you know, certain AI has developed moves that have never been seen by humans, right? Well, I don't want to kind of compare it to that, but we're seeing a development of the game in the same way here. from Quadrant, right? They've obviously seen what has worked for them previously, what other teams are trying to do, and they're trying to work around something different here. Holding that ball on the pink streak, holding down kind of the tram side and the tower side and saying, hey, you've got to go through the 2 tallest points of the map here to even contest that ball carrier. And I kind of like what I'm seeing. They're experimenting a little bit here, and it's working for them.
Yeah, they really are one step ahead each time. And really, the way that comes into practice is all about the numbers, right? Simply getting opening damage gives you everything in this game, specifically in Halo Infinite. The opening damage and also the opening kill. All of a sudden, the world is your oyster. You can then choose how do you want to apply pressure, where do you want to set up, where do you want to get positioned. It comes down to the opening kills, and really thereafter, you could decide how you want to apply the pressure.
Yeah, it's really impressive stuff so far. However, Lucendi have got a little bit of a lifeline here. They've got the ball in the hand, and Chick is the only player alive, and he's only just come off the respawn, so he's once again just smartly waiting, getting that entry damage. And I tell you what, if he manages to pick up Beatley here, or at least create the opening for SLG to finish off that kill, then this is just going to fall apart. Lucendi, unfortunately, just fall victim to Chick not being picked up quickly enough as that first spawner. If you've got 4 dead and you're on Lucendi, you need to find the first spawner. It's as simple as that.
Certainly a few points on the board here for Lucendi as they're able to get 16 to their name, but already 31 for the side of Quadrant. You could just tell by the way Chick was throwing those nades. I mean, truly one step ahead. He knew that the player was going to go ahead and just sit on A. He also knew the player was going to go from PD door all the way to the courtyard door, and just predicting each of those moves, calculating them, and making it look too easy. They're on 45 points already.
I think it's a really good example as well. Maybe some players who are watching Halo Infinite right now as well and thinking, how do I get better at the game? How do I improve my game? If you're first player alive and you're making a push on oddball, surviving, just do damage, wait for teammates. Chick's just shown you how to play those kind of situations perfectly. There's no room for hero plays when you're going to be playing against some of the best in the world, and Chick doing the damage was all that was needed for Quadrant to catch up and capitalize on that damage.
Might have an opportunity here before the series is over, because we don't have much time, to just get a quick shout out to our French fans and the French contingent. It's a quick listen in with Astro Gaming listen in with Quadrant.
Le café, nice. C'est passé,
Encore. Cours, ouais.
Je suis d'accord. Les mecs, top à.
Il revient court.
Dommage.
Spawn en 7.
Dites que vous jouez quand vous spawnez.
Ok, je vais essayer de jouer à droite.
Eddie, free kill. Eddie premier, j'avance, je suis en bench.
102, Eddie, 102, Eddie.
Il y a quelqu'un avec moi, il joue ou pas?
J'ai crois.
Dans red.
Dans red.
Tu es en red, deux weak arcade.
Ah, one shot.
La balle est one.
Catchy, Eddie, one shot.
Il sert, je vois. Mort.
Encore.
Catchy, on a pas dit Catchy.
Trois morts.
Dernier,
Ça va spawner en café pink.
Je joue pas le ball.
Ok, je ramène la balle. Ça spawne en café, 100%.
Je laisse.
Les baka, one shot. T'as pas one shot.
Je reviens vers vous, je redescends.
Dans l'aile.
One shot encore un baka, archi one.
Encore un café. Ah, il passe.
So Lucendi do get a few points on the board, but the break again comes in from Quadrant looking pretty comfortable. SLG has the ball in his hand, and Chick, well, he's just picking up some pieces that have been left over. SLG is just running towards victory. Chick misses the back smack maybe for the little +1 at the end of that game, but the only numbers that matter really are 2-0 the score in that game, and 3-0 to Quadrant in what was a dominant and ruthless performance here on the main stage.
It was, and we got to say, I mean, I'm so glad we got a chance to just get to a little listen in there with the Quadrant side, because it's 80-28 in what is about to be a 3-0. They're already up one round, and the comms are pretty intense, right? We'll both be the first to admit that our French is nowhere near as good to talk about exactly what was being discussed, but you can just tell the intensity on that side, right? Calling out the players that were on top heaven, calling out the players that were back A, making sure that they're getting those kills. And once again, it's all business from Quadrant. It's a very good-looking 3-0, and I think anyone in the arena, any of the top teams that are thinking they might have a shot at the lion's share of this $100,000 prize pool is worried about what they just saw.
Oh, 100%, and I tell you what, I'm looking forward to some of the series that are going to be coming later in this bracket as well, because with the way that we've seen Ascend playing, Quadrant playing, it's going to be one heck of a matchup if we see those teams in the winner's side of the bracket, which is looking like it's going to happen with how pool play has been kind of developing so far today. But if you are to ask Quadrant, how do you expect that series to go? How would you wish that series to go? That would have been the exact answer. 200-29 across the 2 rounds. Dominant performance is all you can really say about it.
Absolutely. Chick 13-7 in that game. 12-6 from Murex as well. And holy SLG popping off with the 17-9.
And one thing I love about Quadrant as well is you're watching their POVs, right? And it seems like everybody is just trying to win the game. As silly as that sounds, there's nobody who's kind of playing slow, trying to stat a little bit. And I mean, we missed it, unfortunately, but it was there. We said there might be an opportunity for another clip. We said there might be another overkill being added. Wasn't going to be a live fire this time, but Chick once again with another overkill just to add to the collection.
And it feels like the guy in the overkills, they just kind of go together, and it's hard to find Chick on a map without him picking up an over. He'll get another overkill, as you say, to add to the trophy chest, and another win on the board for Quadrant.
Quadrant looking incredibly strong. It's 3-0, another win for them in pool play. But for now, we're going to go back to the desk because I'm sure they're just as impressed as we were from the performance from the French.
Thank you so much, lads. Yeah, I've got to say an extremely one-sided series that was. Very, very fast. I've got to say Quadrant looking absolutely incredible and stellar as per usual. I feel sometimes you do see some of our top teams go up against teams that are a little bit less of a caliber, and you do see some dips in terms of performance, in terms of strategy. Did you see any dips at all from Quadrant, or was it pretty smooth sailing in terms of what they were trying to accomplish?
Nothing at all, like literally nothing. Even though the skill gap is quite wide compared to what we normally see, but we like to try and nitpick to see if we can find anything in particular, but there was nothing. There's not really anything in terms of a clear margin.
I mean, they did let up 9 points on the strongholds.
Yeah.
A little bit
Actually, yeah, that's a bit steep. Yeah, maybe you should have made it 250-0. I don't know.
A little bit quicker on the rotations, and that kind of stuff gets cleaned
up. Yeah,
up.
maybe. Yeah, 9 points slipped away. I mean, it's not great, is it? I gotta tell you what, though, we do have Shad on the desk joining us after that pretty incredible series on the main stage. Shad, not a bad start to day 2. I mean, my goodness, you guys are on fire so early on. How are you feeling about that series? Obviously, you know, I think in terms of caliber of teams, you're going up against somebody who I don't think was ready for what you guys produced out there on the sticks. How are the lads feeling about the win?
To be fair, I'm very happy of my team because we play very well. Even when we choked 250-9,
yeah.
we have to make 0. But
it's the idea to watch.
But yeah, we are pretty focused. I think the better day will be Sunday, so tomorrow, because we're gonna play a good team. But yeah, we are playing like focused, like we're playing Ascent on every game. So yeah.
Shad, first off, I want to say, bitterly disappointed you're not Chick up here. I've been the resident #1 fan. But I will say you boys look really, really good over the weekend, particularly yesterday as well. Talk to me about your ambitions for the tournament. Are you going to try and topple down Ascend here? They're obviously the top dogs, but you're looking very, very competitive.
Yeah, of course. Ascend is a very good team. Actually the better team in Europe. But we are here to be top 1 and nothing else, so we're going to beat them.
Yeah, question I was going to ask, but I always say like what you bring to the table, what you bring to this team, because you've been with Quadrant for quite a while now, but I want to ask you what you feel like you personally bring.
In Quadrant?
Yeah.
I don't know, like my teammates are really cool. We are happy to play together. I don't really know, we're feeling like really good together, so that's a good vibe inside the group, so it's pretty fine.
Is a very, very good vibe, and we can see that happening up there. I've got to ask you though, right now, obviously coming off a really hot series win like that, it's sometimes really difficult to pick up on things that maybe you need to improve on. We saw an incredible lights out strongholds to start the series off, really not letting up anything on the gas there. Have you picked up on improvements at all that you really still want to kind of work on throughout the day-to-day?
Yeah, we're still improving on every game. We trying on Scream at home on the live to training.
Yeah, just one question from me. Ascend's been at the top for what feels like a long time. You guys had one hell of a performance over in Kansas City. Feels like Quadrant's been starting to get to a point where they may be able to contest for what we call the Throne of Europe, right? Mm-hmm. What would it mean for you this weekend to take home that trophy?
I'm not sure I've understood the last
what would it
percentage.
Mean to you to take home the win this weekend?
How good would it feel?
To win, to be the champion by tomorrow.
What we miss or what we have to do?
Oh, no. So tomorrow, if you guys win everything, how would you feel?
I don't really know, like feeling happy, I don't know. It's like my job, so I'm here for the top 1 and nothing else. I have to do my best. My teammates know we can do it, so LAN is very different, so now we're gonna see.
Shad, I love it. I love it. Business as usual. You guys have it, you know, your sights set on that #1 spot. An incredible start to day #2, so congratulations on the win and best of luck going into champ bracket.
Thank you a lot.
There we go, we've heard from Shad himself. We're gonna head to a quick break right now, but when we come back, we have another series happening on the main stage. We have Na'Vi coming up versus Connecting, an open bracket team we've had our eye on coming into pool play. I'm excited to see what these guys can do against some of the favorites we have in Europe, Na'Vi. We'll see you guys right after the break.